Well, friends, let me say welcome. It's great that you could join us this morning. It's not lunchtime quite yet, but it's great that you can jump on and spend a little bit of time diving in and learning more about Raisley. If you're new to Raisley or our webinars, a really, really warm welcome. My name's James. I head up enablement and education at Raisley. And alongside a lot of this webinar and many, many others, it's really been a joy sort of exploring Raisley with you and seeing how your fundraising can go further. Now, as if you're someone sort of new to webinars, what I'd encourage you to do, first of all, is let us know that you're here. You can do that in the webinar chat. Just let us know your name, what organization you're from, and if you want to put maybe something in there that you're looking forward to getting out of this webinar, that would also really help. So let us know that you're in there. Use the webinar chat. It's a great way just to know that I'm not speaking to a brick wall. The other thing you can be doing in the webinar during our time is to dive in and use the Q&A feature. That's going to be a really, really good tool for you if you have any sort of core questions that you want to have, that you want to be looking at, and we can explore those as we go on through. Wonderful. Thanks so much, Dawn, for joining us. That's great. Make sure you pop in the webinar chat, follow Dawn's lead, let us know that you're in there, that you're in here, and we'll dive on in. Wonderful. Hey guys. Hey Tara. Hey Michelle. Hey Teta. Thanks so much for joining us. It's really good that you can make some time. So as people are sort of coming in, let me just welcome myself, introduce myself again. My name's James. I head up enablement and education at Raisley. And today we've got a really exciting webinar. We're going to be looking at your end of year campaigns and also this new movement called Giving Tuesday, which I'm probably sure you're already aware of, but I'm looking forward to sort of helping you dive in and seeing a little bit more about how you can maybe make the most of it for your campaigns this year. I hear on the grapevine, many people have already started building their end of year campaigns and are looking forward to the launch coming up in a month. If that is you, you're still going to get heaps of stuff out of today and some little nips and tricks that I hope that you can maybe apply as well. Now, as we dive in, let me quickly just do a introduction into Raisley. Raisley is a leading fundraising platform helping you build your fundraising campaigns and communicate with your fundraisers and donors. It is an exceptionally flexible platform to be using. You can do so much in Raisley, and we are so thankful to be a leading platform, particularly within Australia and New Zealand. Raisley also has two sister companies, Keeler and Aplos. Keeler is a non-for-profit CRM, and Aplos being a fund accounting platform that is used just in the US. All these three products, Raisley, Keeler, and Aplos, all fall under the umbrella of Valora. Now, a little bit about Raisley. Raisley has been around for a while, and its mission is there to improve the well-being of people and planet. We are a B Corp, and also Raisley is really there to support you to be in the driver's seat with some amazing templates that you can just use outside of the box, and also has so much flexibility in the platform, from donation taking, from peer-to-peer to community hubs to ticketing events. There is so much you can be doing in Raisley. We love seeing this product in your hands. Now, if you are new to Raisley and wanting to know maybe where to start, some of the great places to go are these. First, if you need any support in Raisley, just simply go to support@raisley.com and email the wonderful CS team. You can also check out school.raisley.com. Raisley School is a really, really great little platform to help you get started in Raisley. This has kind of been one of my pet projects for some time, and it's really great that we can offer little courses that you can do to upskill in Raisley. The other ones you can do is YouTube at youtube.com/learnraisley. This can be some great little resources there, including our webinars and different interviews we've done in the past. You may likely see a lot of my face on those. Forgive me for those, but you'll get some great resources out of our YouTube channel as well. Now, what are we covering today? There's a few things we want to look at. As mentioned before, what we're looking at is Giving Tuesday and your end of year campaigns. These are really exciting because end of year campaigns, typically every year at Raisley, are some of the most successful campaigns within Australia and New Zealand. And so taking some time to sort of look and work out how you can make yours best this year is really great. Also, having a look at how Giving Tuesday could possibly apply to that is really what we want to explore as we spend some time together this morning. What we're going to be looking at is really what the opportunity is for Giving Tuesday and also your end of year appeals. We want to then look at 3 examples of what you can build. And we're looking at something really simple, match giving and storytelling. We also want to give you 3 tips and tricks that you can apply tomorrow to your campaigns that can make a real difference. And then at the end, we'll help you understand what are some great next steps and some things that you can be receiving in your emails as a great webinar follow-up as well. So why don't we dive on in and let's take a look. As mentioned before, if you do have any questions during our time, don't hesitate to use the Q&A feature. I would really encourage you to use that as it will really help you sort of get the questions you have answered, and I'll pause at different moments for it as well. So why don't we dive in and we want to explore what the opportunity is within Giving Tuesday and also primarily your end of year campaigns. Now, as mentioned before, end of year campaigns are so common in regards to our Australia and our New Zealand users and fundraisers. It's largely because Christmas still here is a huge giving time, and that has been the typical trend for years and years. What we've seen at Raisley is over the years, these campaigns just continue to grow. And so there really is some of the best opportunities you have, besides tax time, is to focus in on your end of year campaigns. But there's another exciting opportunity that's been really in the mix for the last sort of couple of years, and it's only gaining strength and momentum as it moves forward, and that is Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday really is a movement to help, it's a global movement driven by sort of a few little different things. The first is it slightly comes from the US within Thanksgiving period on that, which is typically toward the end of November, very early December. Now, around that period, what we've seen on top of that added is huge push within retail and e-commerce with Black Friday sales and Cyber Monday sales. These are very quickly becoming the core retail and e-commerce events of the calendar year, largely because a lot of people give gifts at Christmas, and it's a sort of set around that real season of giving from Thanksgiving up until Christmas. And really what a lot of people are doing is doing a lot of their retail spending or e-commerce spending in that period. What Giving Tuesday is a movement to say, in light of that experience that's happening globally, what don't you focus on in doing generosity as well? And that's really where Giving Tuesday has come on. You've got Black Friday, you've got Cyber Monday, and now you've got Giving Tuesday. And it's an opportunity for non-for-profits and charities to really be lifting their head and saying, hey, we're here too. While you spend a lot of money on yourself or others, why don't you consider spending money on the great causes that happen around our world? And it's really exciting seeing this. I had a great opportunity to interview Madeline from givingtuesday.org, and just to understand what's happening in the movement. And so you can also check out that interview on our YouTube channel. It's a really good one, but she's so insightful in understanding how this is continually building momentum globally. And one of the things I loved about that interview and hearing from Madeline is there's so many ways people are expressing Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday could be expressed in just making an awareness push. It could be just only targeting your donors and existing fundraiser base. It could be a new appeal that you push to a wider audience. There's so many different ways that you could do it. But really what the core of Giving Tuesday sort of movement is to really make some awareness for great charities around our world to ensure people are bolstering their giving and really giving back at this time. So there's a lot of things that you can be doing within Giving Tuesday. And so one of the things we thought we'd do is, like a lot of our webinars, we really want to lead with some data. And what we've seen is a couple of great campaigns that have been launched with Giving Tuesdays, and I'm going to get some insights from one of those in particular. And then I want to take you through some data insights that are based around our end of year campaigns and kind of show how they could kind of fit together. And so we'll go around that as well. Jen asked, why Tuesday? Yeah, great question. It's largely because that's kind of the rhythm of how the retail sector has left it. What you have is Black Friday sales, then you've got the following Monday, which is cyber sales, and then you've got Tuesday. So it was kind of just a space there in which they thought that was the opportunity to sort of bookend it. It kind of falls after Thanksgiving as well. So it's kind of in that sort of US holiday period too. So that's kind of why Tuesday. It was just a space to take up. I think we do a lot of that in regards to campaigns as well, where many campaigns sort of monopolize a month of the year or something like that. It's kind of just the same sort of thing. But great question. Thanks so much. All right, why don't we dive in and have a look at some of the data that we've actually captured around this. The first is what we wanted to look at. It was actually a single organization who has led the biggest Giving Tuesday campaign for the last 3 years. This organization is one of the biggest fundraising organizations in the world. And they do some really interesting things within their fundraising, and I'll take you through some of that in a little bit. But just getting some core insights into what we see on their end. Now, the first one is they are a global charity. And in 2023, I saw almost 3,000 donations come through and $86,000 return on this. Each donation sort of had the donation median was around 20 US dollars. And what we saw, which is quite amazing, is this campaign is literally in the space of 10 days. The actual peak of the campaign is within 4 days. So it's a lot of fundraising done in a short amount of time. In 2024, we saw the donations drop a little bit to 2,500, but the giving increased. So the median was 25 US there. As I said, a 10-day campaign window. A Giving Tuesday campaign is typically what we'd call a flash campaign. It pops up and then it disappears. And there's all sorts of things that you can be doing in regards to making that a bit of a short sprint of a campaign. Short sprint campaigns can be really, really fun. They can also be enormously stressful because a lot's going on. But typically what they are surrounded by is a huge marketing push, whether that be from your socials, your social investment, email investment, a real reach out in communication to focus on that narrow window. What they also often do, and which is the case of this one, is match giving can be a really core element in that. And match giving is where you find maybe a corporate partner who's willing to make a pledge of, say, 10 or 50 or $100,000 and say, hey, for every one donation, we'll match it up until that pledge amount. And that can be really effective just to drive that motivation and that urgency around there, which is really is the core of our flash campaign, really sort of pushing that sense of urgency as well. What's interesting is they saw an 18% increase from start to finish. So when you look at your donation amounts increase more and more and more from start to finish. And that's one thing we'll explore in there as well. And what was really interesting is they saw their greatest return in a small window post Thanksgiving. So even on the Giving Tuesday day, the major giving was done the day after. And that's kind of interesting because it's nice to see some of those insights and to understand, hey, when we're positioning our investment, whether that be communication or campaign building, it's just sort of neat to sort of look around there as well. Now, what I want to do now is just move on to end of year campaigns. And this is kind of where we have a little bit more data based around particularly Australia and New Zealand. When I say a lot, we have thousands of campaigns over the last number of years that all use Raising. So the amount of data we have on end of year campaigns is huge. And so what we want to do is actually just pick on the top 15. And the main reason for that is it gives us a good segment to be looking at and exploring and to go, each of these campaigns raised a minimum of the campaign of 100,000. It went up to about 1.3 million. And it gives us a good snapshot with a lot of donation traffic coming on through to sort of understand where we're seeing the rhythms that people are doing or what they're sort of doing at the end of financial year. End of year, and I always make that mistake, and see what they're doing at end of year so that you guys can predictably sort of measure what you're doing as well. So some of the insights we saw was that the median donation amount is up to $75. This is really interesting because in a moment, I'll show what the peaks of these campaigns are. But one of the things to also note, so the median is $75. So that might be more than what you thought you can actually ask someone at this time of year. And I'm going to actually show you in a moment that you can actually ask a lot more than that. But that's where the median sits. Now, the other thing to be looking at is the best campaigns out of these 15, right? The most successful ones out of the 15, which are already considered very successful campaigns, the most successful ones started 1st November. They start right at the beginning of November and the push there. That just gives them enough lead time, roughly around 8 weeks, to be really driving a lot of traffic and really getting those referrals coming on through. So a focus on starting at the beginning of November is a really good way to look at that. Now, some of you may be thinking right now, oh hell, we have 1 month, less than 1 month to push our campaign up and out. But I'll show you in a little bit how simple this can actually be. And so you're best set up for success around that as well. But there are also within these 8 weeks, there's 4 campaign peaks, and it's nice to understand where those peaks sit. And also one of the really interesting insights was within Australia and New Zealand, go big on the 18th of December this year. The main reason for that is it's the day that people typically clock off. The day before people clock off for the Christmas season. We know that particularly in Australia, I'm in Australia, that once it kind of hits that Friday and then the weekends into Christmas, you're out. Like it's just everything's done. I'm shutting down. I'm focusing on family and mowing lawns and getting ready. Everything else is sort of gone. I'm reading my book. What's interesting is that we saw a huge spike on the day before of that. So my encouragement would be 18th of December is good for a push. Now, here's an interesting one. This is the volume out of 60 campaigns that we have in regards to what Giving Tuesday can do. Most of these are based in the US. I do note that. But you do see that there is a tremendous spike where it comes to the rhythms of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, coming into Giving Tuesday. And this, what we're saying, is only growing year on year. And I think being an adopter into this is only going to get you to see some fruit. More interestingly, though, is this little diagram here. Now, the nice part is with all of our webinars, we will make sure that you get the slides available here. So don't feel like you've got to write everything down. Just let you know that. But within these slides, one of the things you'll see is you'll see 4 core points where we see the best uptake of your campaigns. And this can kind of help you understand what is realistic in the campaign so you can measure your communication. The first one would be at the very beginning of your launch. Every time that you launch, that's how it would be. Yeah, Gina, no worries. The slides sometimes don't come clearly through Zoom, but they will definitely be shared with you as well, so you can follow those up later on. But one of the things to look at is in November 1st, at the launch date, that is one of the core areas to invest in because your launch matters. As soon as you put something out there, people are going to take it up. That is just natural and normal. Not the biggest amounts, but definitely one of the core peaks of your campaign. The second core peak has always been around Giving Tuesday over the last few years. We are seeing a huge spike here. And this is where we're not saying you need a Giving Tuesday campaign to see a spike here. Even if you just ran your end of year campaign without any focus on Giving Tuesday, you will still see a spike. What we're saying is leverage that spike even more because people are ready for it, and it's only retail and spending is now done all in this period, no longer done in this period as it used to be because of a Black Friday and Cyber Monday. It's all around here. So a good focus here, it can be really helpful. The other one here is the big push, 18th of December this year. Our stats clearly show that if you hit people up before work and everything finishes up, it's a great time. There's a real peak there. But the largest peak of all time over every year is always on Christmas Eve, where you see a lot. So you can't get a rest, making sure that is all set up for you, making sure the 24th. You get a little bit of drop back on the 25th, but then it really just plateaus out. So the 24th is the really, Christmas Eve is the really big one to nut down. Now, one of the other things, and this will be in the slides if you can't see it completely, but one of the really interesting things to see is the donation amount increase. What you'll see in a end of year campaign is that your donation amounts given exponentially grow. So what you'll maybe see in November is a lot of people give you around $50. What you see toward mid-December is that suddenly people are giving $75. What you see toward right before Christmas is people are giving $150, $200. This happens every single year. What doesn't happen every year, which we've been trying to encourage people to do, is often people don't change their dollar amounts on this. So one of the things we're saying is the trends and the data shows us that people give more the closer you get to Christmas. It just exponentially grows up to the point where our suggestion is at the beginning of November, start with $25, $50, $100, and $200 as your dollar handles. If you're not sure what a dollar handle is, all I'm saying as a dollar handle is I'm saying these little buttons. Well, these little buttons here is what we call a a dollar handle. Sorry, I'm losing my brain. So 25, 50, 100, and 200 is a good start at the beginning of your launch. Once you hit Giving Tuesday, though, increase it 50%. Once you hit mid-December, increase it 200 these by 200%. As you hit the big push on the 18th and 24th, increase it to 300%. And you can be doing that in Raisely really simply. You can be going into your settings and the donation form and updating those at those particular moments. People can always give a gift here, but our encouragement is make these updated throughout your campaign because it only exponentially grows. So it's one of the really core investments to be making there. Now, some other data insights are here, and thanks for just keep going with this. This stuff is really fascinating because it helps you make some more predictions based on the thousands of donations, or to be honest, it's hundreds of thousands of donations that come through the Raisely platform every time. Jenna asks, won't the donors notice that we update the amount? Will that feel exploited? Possibly. And there's ways to work this around. Typically, you can either target it by using custom, you can actually condition out your donation amounts so that different values are being shown for different types of people or at different stages. And we've got some great support articles on how to do that. I think we even have a YouTube clip on how to do that as well. One of the assumptions that we try to help people understand, though, is the data doesn't lie, and it proves to us a core assumption that at that time of year, people want to give. If we don't give them opportunity or suggestion, it's a lost opportunity, not just for you, but for them. And so our big encouragement is lean on the assumption that at this time, people really want to give back to a great cause, and lean on that. So sometimes we can feel a little bit iffy. Do I put it up? It's actually working with, as the data sees year upon year, the natural rhythm of where people want. Most of the time, it's because the closer it gets to Christmas, the more urgency people have to do something about their want to be generous. So let them do that easily, give them the right amounts. Liz also says, would you run two different campaigns, GT or end of financial year, overlapping, but still use the model of increasing ask amounts? 100%. There's a couple of ways to do this. There's two primary ways to do this. Then there's one sort of advanced, complicated way, which I like, but it's not for everyone. And I'll show you how to do that in just a little bit as well. But in Raisely, you got two options. One, you could create two different campaigns. You could launch them kind of side by side. So sort of pause one and push it over to the other. And then once that's done, push it over back to the end of financial year. Or you can kind of integrate them together. And I'll show you that model because I kind of like that a little bit more, particularly in the Australian market as well. But some of the things I'll quickly show you, but great question, Liz, and I'll come back to that because I want to show you real examples of what this looks like. What's really interesting though, in the data insights is one thing we do track is what is called referrer. So every time in Raisley someone makes a donation, what is collected in your reporting is a field called referrer. And what referrer tells us is where they came from before they landed on your site. We can also use UTMs to do this. So if you are sort of up with the marketing lingo, what a UTM is, it's a little addition that you make to your URL link up the very top that might say source equals email, campaign equals Giving Tuesday. And what these little pieces of data can do in your URL is they save themselves to your data record when someone donates. The really great part about this is that you can understand where they came from. Did they come from your website? Did they come from an email? Did they come from a social post? Did they come from a billboard or QR code? All those things are sort of what UTMs can help you with. But one of the other ones is, as I said before, is called Referrer, and that is actually done by the browser. So what the Referrer does is that if someone has gone to a website before they land on your campaign, it will record what that website was. And so typically, one of the things that we really interestingly see is that a lot of people in these top 15 came from their website. What that means is it means a couple of things. The first is that if you don't advertise your end of financial year campaign on your website or your Giving Tuesday campaign on your website, you're crazy, right? You totally should be doing this because a lot of people come from the website. What's even more interesting is that they give almost 2 times higher average donations if they've come from your website. And the reason primarily around this is trust. They've gone to your website, they've seen what you do, and they're like, of course I'll donate. And what that means is it changes the experience that you need to give them in Raisley and the donation experience to be very minimal. You don't have to actually give them much because they've already got a lot from your website. So the encouragement here is make sure that you are advertising your campaigns clearly on your website because people may go to that before they go to your campaign link, and make it minimal. The other one is emails and socials. Many people will come onto your campaign via emails and social. This is very normal. One of the suggestions we have out of a lot of these campaigns is possibly add in there an impact section. You already are giving them content from the emails and socials. Websites are not primarily there for content. Websites are there for conversion and action, which is like, in this case, a donation. Socials and emails, like your core website, carry information already. That pre-information you've already given someone, whether that be a reel, a great image and some copy underneath, whatever it is, that's information they've already absorbed before they land on your campaign page. So what we're sort of suggesting in this is if you do have emails and social, maybe just add an impact section onto your campaign, but that's it. You don't need to put very, very much. And I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. The other one as well is search or cold. So sometimes what you see is people have literally just come from Google search or Bing, if you're in the 3% minority. And in that case, if they've come completely cold to your campaign, add impact section, but also add a little bit about yourself as well, is some of the insights that would encourage you to be looking at there. So that's a bunch of the insights that you can glean from some of the, to be honest, the top 15 end of year campaigns within Raisley. And these are some juggernaut charities that are in there. And it gives us a lot of insights into how others can be sort of looking at setting their expectations around that kind of stuff and some good rules. But what I want to dive in and do is show you how you do this in Raisley. What's a really good example of a great end of year campaign? And I think it's going to kind of surprise you, which would be good. But also look at what does it look like to add it and evolve it and to make it, build it out a little bit more. And we want to be having a look at that. I am going to pause though just quickly. If there's any questions, please drop them in the Q&A there. I'm stoked that you can see. Sam just has a question. Thanks so much, Sam. What do you see as the most successful way of growing awareness for your campaign and reaching possible funders, donors, supporters, aka social media, EDMs, ads? Great question. Social's hard. Social, though, these days is moving to however you pay, whatever you pay equals whatever the return. That's really where social is moving toward, even very, very much with how sort of agentic AI is working within social. It really is pushing whatever you pay is the result you get. So typically, social's a lot around ad spend. And that is a discouragement to many, maybe an encouragement to some, and maybe it's not a level playing field. But social is kind of what you spend is kind of what you get, and you can work it out around that. Also, social is very much about testing. Some things work, some things don't work, and making sure you can actually do a lot of A/B testing with socials. It still remains a very successful space to do it. Facebook still remains a very successful space to do it. The other sort of social media channels are slightly growing. Instagram typically doesn't grow all that much, so I'd not avoid Instagram, but don't hang your hat on it. But definitely organic reels and video content is huge. So if you do socials, make sure they're raw. Like it means that your designs might be kind of ugly design. That normally does better. Your videos, just shoot them with an iPhone. They will convert way, way more. So that's one way. EDMs are only really going to go to your donor base. And one of my suggestions with EDMs is keep them simple. Most people put far too much copy in their ETMs. Give yourself like a 30-word limit, like that short, and with a quick call to action. And if you have space, video content is everything these days. People want to see the authenticity behind your impact. Linking out to a video makes a huge difference. So having a little image that looks like a video on your email that when they click goes to your site, which I'll show you in a sec, shows them a video, can really convert well. One of the things I would love to encourage you to do, because it's still really effective, many people struggle to sort of look at utilizing is referral strategies. So the reality is if you have a whole bunch of people who you are targeting, make sure you are setting up really cleverly how they are actually speaking to other people about your organization. How are you making that simple for them to do? That's often the most lowest hanging fruit and often the cheapest way to getting more people growing awareness around your campaign. You can do all the flashy things and all the big campaign things, and they're really worthwhile. They do make a big difference. But so many people just forget the core basic one, which is just referrals. How do you tell your friend about it? How do you tell your friend, hey, and you're not telling your friend, this is how much I gave, how good am I? You're telling your friend around the great project that they supported. That's what the story is that you're trying to push people to get. So great question, Sam. And yeah, we've got a whole bunch of amazing marketing partners within Razy. So if that's something you're more curious to look into, please do reach out to our team and we can give you some resources. How many contacts does a person need to have with your org before they convert to a donor? How many contacts does a person need to have with your org before they convert to a donor? The classic retail one is 5. So you need to hit people up 5 times before they're going to buy anything. I would say it probably sits still around the same retail, 5 to 7 times that you need interactions with people before they may give. So don't give up, be persistent around this. Still, your email channel is your best. If you have their email, keep on emailing them. But just make sure your emails are good, because if they're not good, they're just going to get trashed. No one's ever going to want to read them. Keep them short, keep them simple, keep video content's good. But yeah, you do need a few cracks at it to move someone to a donor. I think it's probably a little bit less in regards to donations, only because there's more of a warmth if you can have a good story behind it, which is why I'm big on video content around that too. But great question. Love these marketing questions. These are kind of fun. They're normally on the outskirts of Raisley, but they're great questions. So thank you. All right, I'm going to show you some campaigns that hopefully you can take some inspo from. Now, this is a campaign template that we have actually available for you. So joining this webinar today, this template can be made available into your Raisley account. Simply, you just need to request it from us. And in the email that we'll send you out, we'll have instructions on how to get this template. You may look at this template and be like, is that it? And the answer is yes, that is all there is. If you look, and one of the great vantage points that Raisley has is the ability to see tens of thousands of campaigns every year at all times of the year. It is beyond a doubt for tax time and for end of year, the simplest campaigns always win. Mainly because what they're setting themselves up as is conversion campaigns. They're leveraging off already information being with the person and then just asking the person, what's your amount? What would you like to give? So making it really simple, but also emotive and making sure you have a great image to back it up. A very, very clear, simple copy that is just so action driven. This is your goal. All right. One, because they convert really well. It just shows someone really simply, I land here, that's what I do. I choose my amount and I can move on forward. No worries, Michelle. Thanks so much. And we'll have the recording for you as well. So one of my encouragements really is just focus on making something simple like this. And we can put this in your account, which is great. Just add a really great image, add your logo in, and you've got a campaign ready to go. If you haven't seen sort of Raisy's donation form before, you've got the donation modal button. This is really good for mobile, creates a little bit less real estate, which is great. You've got one-time or weekly options, and you can adjust those. But when you go on through, you're going to regularly giving upsell if you want to be adding that in as well. That is optional. A nice simple form, really clean, really simple. The nice part is Razy works with Apple Pay and Google Pay. So if they are using their Safari browser or using their Chrome browser and they have Apple Pay or Google Pay set up on their phones or their laptops, then it also will activate that for them as well. So it can be really quick for someone to give to you, which is really, really nice and simple. You've also got the donation form here, just hedge your bets, all right? Good to have two call to actions there. You're really building a little bit of trust with this copy here, just making sure they know where their money is going, but that is it. Really simple, clean brand, on point. It converts really well every time. But say if you want to grow this a little bit more, well, you totally can. So let me show you another quick example. I'm just going to enter in a query here, and it's going to change the page up a little bit. Okay. Now that the page has changed a little bit, I've added another element. And what this element is, it's a little link that when clicked will go down to this little section here, impact. What you're doing is you're building or putting new building blocks into an already really successful converting campaign. You're saying, great, if you want to scroll down, you totally can. And you can go down to here and you can use the feed block to put in numerous different story previews and little links that say read the full story. If someone clicks this, they can go then to a story page. And this is in the template, so you can use this to your heart's content, where you can be putting on a great little background image up the top there. You can put in some core copy around what the story is and what the impact you're doing is, whether it be a project or a person you're profiling. Put some more images in there, sweet little description. And at the bottom, a clear call to donate. Now, the reason these are really good is these can actually be standalone. So say, for example, if you're running your social posts out there, you may actually integrate these pages, these story pages, in with your social posts. So instead of taking people to your homepage, you take them straight to the story page. So these can be really good if you just want to add a little bit more impact and story behind what your campaign is. And they're really simple. They take 5 seconds to set up and they make a big difference. One of my huge encouragements is if you have any video copy, replace these images with a video every day of the week. They convert way better, and I really encourage you to have a look at that as well. So that's a story page and what you can be adding into your campaign there. Now, if you want to elevate it up a little bit more, what you could do is you could put an about section in there as well. So story, what did I call? I think I call about is one. As I said before, what you can do is put another little row down the bottom, and that just tells people a little bit more about who you are. This can act as a little bit of trust that is there. You could even put the little donation button if you wanted to down the bottom there. But as I said, you've now given them the impact and what you're doing, and you've also given them a quick little blur around who you are and why they should trust you. And these two things together can really make a huge difference. Simplicity is key. These campaigns are very quick to build. The great part about having campaigns that are quick to build is that you can have way more time investing into your communication, into your social media strategies, into your advertising strategies. And they're really at the core, they kind of are what make a campaign really successful. when they hit the Raisley, that's the bottom of the funnel. You just want to make it clean, simple, and clear for them around what they can be doing. Now, let me give you an example of some other things that you can be doing in this campaign as well to sort of bolster it up a little bit. And one of the main parts is that when you're looking at campaign builds, is that you can add in match giving. Match giving is a really, really good tool to be utilizing. Now, what I've done here is on the header, there's another little row at the top here. And it says double your gift. This Giving Tuesday, your donation is matched. And this can be really, really helpful because ribbons are the first thing that people see. So you can be putting in short little messages in the top here that people will see first, and it will give them a sense. And you can have different ones of these that you hide and show throughout your campaign. These are a great way to keep refreshing what the content is on your site. You can do different colors, you can do whatever you want. But I love these ribbons, big fan of. One of the other things as well is we've got the match giving calculator down the bottom here. So when someone goes and selects an amount, you'll actually see the little match giving calculator apply to this as well. So how do you actually see this set up? Well, it's really easy. If we go into our Raisley campaign, I'm just in Raisley now. Come on, Raisley, load. There we go. And we've got a Giving Tuesday end of year campaign template, which can be in your account. You just request it from us. Oh no, I've logged out of Raisley. Hang on a sec. Sometimes this happens, and I'm now going to have to do my authenticator app, but it's going to be worth it. So just bear with me for a moment. It will take me 2 seconds. Here we go. Probably other people, if they're on our team, are laughing at me doing this. Great. Confirm. Wonderful. Now that we're back in, we can go into the campaign. So if we open it up, we can go, first of all, to if match giving to settings and go down to match giving. Match giving is a great tool because you can create a new match giving period. You can call it whatever you want. And this is where you can take a pledge from a corporate or someone or a philanthropist, and they can put the pledge amount in here, put the name in there, put little conditions, put a schedule on it. And what this will do, it will activate in your campaign. As I said earlier, when you're looking at this concept, when you're looking at here, this opportunity at Giving Tuesday, these two opportunities here are really great opportunities for match giving. It really is going to spike it out. It also means with match giving is that can be a whole nother advertising strategy that you have as well up your sleeve. So that you can be saying on your socials or your emails, hey guys, match giving is coming up, make sure you do this. So it can be a really good opportunity for it. And you can also say to people who, which I'm a really big fan of, most people don't agree with me, but the data agrees with me, and that's a good thing, is that you can actually ask people to donate twice. If someone donated early in your campaign in November, re-asking them and saying, hey, if you gave another $20, it's going to be $40 because of our match giving partner. Why don't you give that on the 18th or the 24th? Asking people twice is completely fine because a lot of people don't mind being asked. This is the assumption that you've got to challenge yourself with. People at this time of year want to give. Why? Because at the core of it, I believe people are made to give. If you believe in that, it means that all you got to do is put the opportunity in their lap, and most people in a year don't get the opportunity to do it. So give them an opportunity, which is a really great opportunity with match giving. So match giving is a great way to sort of set your campaign up. Some other things I've done in here, so if you go into your header and footer, you can see that these are where I'll actually put the little ribbons up the top that I was talking about, just in your header and footer page, which is kind of cool. One of the other ones that I didn't actually show before is what you can do is instead of match, let's do GT. You can put like a little countdown timer instead in there if you want for Giving Tuesday as well. So like you got different options you can be putting in up the top there. That can be really helpful. But really, when you look at the campaign that you're going to be working on, if you go to the home page, it's just a bunch of rows like this. All right, this is all you're building. It's really, really simple, and we can give you the template to do it. So just put your brand in there, put a great image in, the best image you can possibly find, and just change your copy to make it just for you is a really, really good idea. Now, one of the questions that was asked earlier, which is really good. Ah, Laura's got a question. Let me answer that first. Is it better to do match giving on Giving Tuesday or around 18th of December? My encouragement is both. If you've got the opportunity, some people have one match giving partner, and that's completely fine. What you can do is, if that amount is decent, is just split it. So you're going to have a match giving period at Giving Tuesday and a match giving period on later on in the month. I'd be doing that in every day of the week because it really is an accelerator. It's an excuse to give. It pushes urgency for people because it's a certain time period. People go, I'll jump on that now. And because it's matched, most people will give more. The stats are with match giving, people give 3 times the amount that they were initially looking to give. That's fascinating, and we get that data because what we see on end of year or end of financial year campaigns, we see what the median is for the general donations before match giving periods, and then we see what the medians are in that match giving period, and they're close to 3 times the amount. So match giving is really effective, and so I'll be splitting it every day of the week. As I sort of said before, nothing wrong with having three. You got different partners that sort of appear in those 3 different periods, as I was saying. So you got one period Giving Tuesday, one period on the 18th, one period on the 24th. You could have 3 different partners if you wanted to. It's also a great way to profile your partners around that. So there's all sorts of little things you can do, but I'd be splitting them. That's what I'd look. But it kind of also depends on how much they pledge. If you've only got maybe $10,000, that's going to go through pretty quick. Yeah, just get a bunch of partners and see how you go with it. Great question though, Laura. All right, so if you go, what was the other thing I was going to show you? That's right, is when you come into this, the question is how would you set it up? And there's one really interesting thing that you can be doing in Raisley. When you have a landing page like this, actually, I'll go back and just remove all this. Back to basics, right? This is the core basic page that you have. You may want another version of this page, but for Giving Tuesday. You may want another version of this page for the 18th of December. You may want another version of this page for Christmas Eve. You can totally do that. One of the things is within Raisley, one thing you can do is actually just copy or create a new page that's copied from the home page. So simply go create page, and it might be 18th of December. All right, you can call it whatever you want. Clone it from home, create page. And what this has done is it's created a clone from your core homepage. And you can be putting new content in here and customizing this page for this particular spot, putting match giving things in there, putting different copy in there. Copy is a big one. Really encourage you to look at your copy because it makes a big difference. And so it's another sort of page that you can be utilizing, which is great. As you can see, the pages here. If you use the little ellipses here, though, and go make homepage, what you see is that the original homepage up here then goes to draft. This one now becomes your core homepage. So that means when some people go to your site, they're going to see that new one from this page here. And this is a really quick way to make really customizable landing pages that you have the flexibility to quickly change and quickly move at different moments of your campaign. I'd really suggest that as a way to do it. And it also means all the data is stored in one campaign, so you can report on that a little bit easier as well. The other option is that there's nothing stopping you creating multiple campaigns in Raisley here and utilizing those for different things too. So that's one thing you can do. You could literally just go over, duplicate this campaign, make that your Giving Tuesday one, make that your end of year one, and do it that way. Only trick is you're going to need 2 domains for each of those. And also the totals of each are only confined to that particular campaign, which is kind of why I like this solution a little bit better for something like end of year and Giving Tuesday, which is kind of cool and neat. Now, I feel like I'm not even breathing, but I've got a couple of little things and little tricks I'd love to just share with you before we finish up on this webinar. Now, the first one is really simple. One of the things that when you go into a campaign and you go through a donation form, and you then process a donation. And go to donate. In Raisley, because the donation form is really good, you get this little thank you message at the end there. And I'm a really big fan of this. It gives people a lovely little pleasant feel. Great, I've donated. But it can be a bit of a dead end. My encouragement is at the moment, you got these little share, which is good, like share, post, email, that. But all this section here, you can update, particularly this section just here. So if you go into your settings, donation form, settings, you find right here that you have a little thank you message that you can now customize. What most people don't realize is that if you put a little bit of HTML in here, HTML is just web code. If you have ChatGPT, you could just literally write out what you want and it will spit you the HTML in there. You can be putting things like button links in there as well. So even though you have a message, which you can make different styles and whatever you want to do with your HTML, you can also add extra buttons. These extra buttons can do really cool things for you. So like just think about where you want to take someone after this. It's all of those kind of experiences as well that you can really bake into this little section. So a lot of people don't touch this. I totally would. I'd be having a field day with this and seeing what works. You got a big campaign to run. Try different copy and see what they do after this. So really, really big fan of doing this. One of the things that we've done as well is you can put a copy link in here, which can kind of be helpful as well. It says you use Keeler. Would it automatically update contacts in Keeler when someone donates? Yeah, it does. Yep, if you use the Keeler integration with Raisley, it does. Just to note that the Keeler does not support custom fields. It only supports core fields. So that's a really, really good idea to do as well. Now, one of the other ones that I'd really encourage you to be looking at is what is social media is basically social media feeds. So if you go down to the bottom here, you could have a whole nother row underneath this section and use a really good tool like Juicer. Now, what Juicer is, if you go to juicer.io, so that's just juicer.io, what that can give you is a great, I'll put it in the chat so you can actually see it, .io. They don't pay me anything to recommend this. I just like these tools. These are kind of cool tools. What this does, it allows you to put your social media wall on your campaign. For Giving Tuesday and end of financial year, these can be really effective. The reason for it is that you're showing people, one, you've got activity happening and excitement, which is all on your social media, which they would have to normally click through to see any of that kind of stuff, which maybe they won't do. But you've got activity happening, which is great. But you've got real authentic people who are engaging with you. So donors are like, oh, they're real people connecting to this. I can be one of those people. So you're building community as well. So what you can do is use a tool like Juicer. I like Juicer. It's totally the paid one. I only normally go to the paid ones just because they're way better than finding free ones. And you're only using it for a little bit of time. So it's worth the money. But what you can do on something like this is that you can just choreograph exactly what feeds you want fed through it from your socials. You connect your social accounts and they'll give you an embed code. That embed code you can simply put on your site under here in a whole brand new row so people see that you're live on social. And you can have then a little call to action, maybe to go to your social or to donate or do whatever you want. But adding social feeds can be a really good game changer for you. The last thing I'd recommend with any end of financial year campaign is really consider regular giving. Regular giving is a really, really cool one. If we go back out to campaigns, we have a regular giving campaign. This is one of the campaigns I recommend everyone set up in Raisley. It is the simplest one to set up. I'll show you this one quickly. It looks so similar to what the other one is, which is great. You can just use the other one and duplicate it and make it into a regular giving campaign. But as you can see here, we have monthly. We don't have the one-off is gone. They don't have a one-off option unless you do this one, which is the donation model, which can be one-off, which is kind of flexy. How regular giving helps, a little bit on the stats. Need to do a bank transfer. You can put that in if you wanted to. But really what regular giving is great to do is have this as a campaign that you can be pushing to people after end of year. One of the things that often we do as well is in this campaign, you set up a whole bunch of your messages that are going to support regular givers. And if someone gives into this campaign, you can simply, after they've been set up and they give as a regular donor in this campaign, I always do this. All right. This is the regular giving campaign. Sorry, you just seen a whole bunch of me demoing and not actually seeing what the product is. I am so sorry. Thank you, Laura, for pulling me up on that. This is the regular giving campaign here. As I said, if you open it up, view site, it's really basic. You've got a donation form very similar to the other one that was there. And they can also do one-off donations if they want to as well in this campaign. A little section on the impact of what a regular giver does and some other things as well. You can be setting one of these up really, really, really simply. And the best part about these is that you can set them up with messages that are pertain to regular givers. But in this campaign, if someone does give as a regular giver or any of your campaigns they give as a regular giver, you can actually move that regular giving over to this campaign. And that way, over time, this regular giving campaign ends up becoming your growing community campaign that you can just manage and put some great things in there. So I really encourage you to be creating one of these and to be using those as your end of year strategy to where people go to next, which can be really, really helpful as well. All right, we've covered a lot today, and we are going to be making sure that you have access to all the resources that we've been talking about as well. And we'll also give you access to the template. And that can be just a really good little shortcut that you can just apply your brand to, and away you go, which can be great. So there's resources coming. Let me take you through maybe some of the next steps that you could possibly take within Raisley. The first one is if you want to find some more resources, you can scan these 2 QR codes. They will be supplied in the email as well as links. But we have a great landing page for Raisley resources for Giving Tuesday. And also do check out givingtuesday.org. They're a great, great organization and movement, really worth understanding. And do have a watch of the interview we did with Madeline, because she is an absolute superstar. If you need to find support in Raisley, as earlier I said, go to support@raisley.com. You can also check out raislyschool.com, which we also have a Giving Tuesday course on there that I can't recommend more highly. And also you've got us on YouTube, so be sure to check that out. This is Raisley School. Yep, great. And let's close it up. So if you've got any questions, please fire them my way before we finish up. I'll give you a moment just to think through if you've got any more questions before we close. But we're really excited to see kind of what you'll do with your end of year campaigns. There's so much you can be doing, Raisley. It's such a flexible product. And we really encourage you to sort of just dive in and explore, try some new things, and using that template that we can give you as well into your account just by your request can give you a bit of a head start around that. Now, I'm not seeing sort of any other questions pop on through, so I'm going to call it a day. Thanks so much for joining us in our webinar today. It's so much fun being able to give you some insights and some knowledge into what we see in Raisley that you can apply into your organization, and we really hope that it sees you grow this year. Great. Chetna says, I haven't used Raisley before. What's the best first step? You need to create. Yes, if you haven't used Raisley before, you've got a brand new account. Literally just go to admin.raisley.com/start or start.raisley.com. And there you can create your free account with Raisley. So go for it, but we'll make sure that's in the link as well. Emma, Sam, Liz, Laura, Chetna, Brian, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone out there that has joined us today, have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. A pleasure. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Rod. It's great doing webinars. We love doing webinars. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and we'll see you around.